Oh no, I'm in the video.
Okay, so now I'm going to present our speaker, Remington Steele. You may have seen him on TV about 3 years ago in that one show. Let's not talk about that.
In that one commercial. Oh, hey, look at me.
Hey, look, also me.
Oh, we're live. Dang it. Oh, well.
Yep, you guys are live, but I need to change the screen of the presenter.
Is that an Infinity TV? Yeah, it is an Infinity
Why?
TV. Infinity TV. Never mind.
Hey. What's up?
I love my sunglasses.
Oh,
Okay.
Expensive.
I didn't put my bag on it. Hey, would it be up there?
Keep an eye out for them because they're the kind that are for colorblind people.
Oh, I didn't.
So there's a.
I accidentally took my husband's glasses today.
Oh.
So I need to get this on a different screen. It keeps popping over the other one.
Okay, keep doing it.
That didn't work.
I didn't turn it.
All right.
Animal Crossing one.
Need some help, guys.
With what? When you hit full screen, it goes to the wrong screen?
Yeah. I forget how to get that back to the other side.
Oh.
We need to set up a slideshow.
Slideshow monitor.
Where's that at?
Oh, it was under that menu you were just on, bottom right.
Bottom right.
Yeah, in that box.
I should stop playing, but I can't.
Okay. There we go. All right.
Hey.
So, hello. My name is Remington Steele, and I'm doing a presentation on game development and design. This is for the Computer Science Club Gaming SIG. Check us out on Discord. I'm sure Patrick over here will give us the whole rundown on that later on.
Yeah.
But
I think everyone here already knows, honestly.
but for our online viewers, of course.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Are there any?
Not yet.
Okay.
But though-
In the future.
Hopefully, right?
Future students.
All right, so this is mostly going to be an overview, but we're going to get into some interesting stuff later on. So, starting out, about me. Quick overview of me. All right, why should I be talking to you guys about this stuff? So I've been just developing games on the fly since high school. Started out, it was fun. Did things early on in, like, say, Scratch and JGrass and stuff like that.
Francis Tuttle. I went to Francis Tuttle
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, I went to Bristol as well. Did computer programming and software development over there. Graduated there 2014. But I couldn't get a job being a programmer with just my Francis Tuttle degree. So I decided to come to college. And have been here ever since doing computer science course. And kind of kept my game development on the back burner when I got to college in 2014. And as I progressed further on, the fire kind of sparked again, and in 2016, I went and put together a team of 8 people to start developing video games. We were called Zero Set Gaming. We had 3 programmers, 2 artists, sound engineer, level designer, all the works. And unfortunately, due to some internal conflict with some of the members of the group, as well as some responsibilities, of course, with either work or school or whatnot like that. At the end of, actually the mid 2017, we just got into alpha stages of the game, and we had to stop production there, unfortunately. But I did not give up. I fell in love with Dr. Sung's OOP class, where we were coding in Java to make a game in there as a final project to make a game. And later the next semester, in the spring of 2018, I actually did an independent study with him and my good friend Hunter Jackson to do a 3D Unity, kind of like a small team-oriented, still very much so along the lines of his OOP class with the sprints that we were doing in there with we're using Scrum, I believe in that, other agile development. And now, after that semester, coming into now in the summer and now this fall semester, I continued on with Hunter and 1 or 2 people off and on developing games still. We're about to hopefully push forward, get another alpha out there. I'm hoping the end of this year. It's probably looking more like the end of the spring semester, but we're going to keep doing what we got to do to get that done. So that's a little bit about me and my experience with game development, ups and downs and whatnot. So let's get into the meat of this. Oh, and by the way, that picture right there, that is from the 3D Unity development independent study that I did with Dr. Sung, and it was Dungeon Crawler. There was a Dungeon Crawler, and this is our. At the end of it, we had to make one of those research day posters that we do commonly in, and so this is just kind of an overview of that. I'll have this PowerPoint available after everything if you guys want to download it and look over this if you want to as well. See what we did. It was the first time that I had picked up a textbook that I wasn't required to read it all the way through, did all the exercising in it, and felt great afterwards. And I actually did that with two. We had game programming patterns right there at the bottom there, and Unity in Action. Two great resources. I highly recommend them. I'll leave links to them once we're done as well. So where do we start? It's a big question, and as I see here, with a simple answer. You just start. And what I mean by that is that if you have a desire to get into game development, the only thing stopping you is you. Whether it be a restriction on your time or a restriction on, this is not going to make me a fruitful career or whatnot. Starting out as a hobby then. It creates a lot of us in here are computer science majors. And especially as we know with Dr. Sung's classes, or at least some of us know with Dr. Sung's classes, that object-oriented programming is the meat of game design. And it is what is used heavily in the entirety of the industry, except for some, of course, old things like with the military and the old Fortran programs and all that kind of wonder waterfall method stuff. But if you didn't know, there is more resources for game development than there are for most other things on the internet. It's surprising when I was going to look up a few of these things. Right here we have, of course, I throw a little few images here of the Unreal Engine, Unity. The one in the middle here, this is called Bracky. He's a game developer who has several tutorial series using both Unity and the Unreal Engine. And if you guys didn't know, I have the actual OCCC logo up here. I know we're at UCO right now, but OCCC actually offers a fantastic program on game design. And besides the OC, the Oklahoma Christian College over there, they're the only ones that offer any kind of game design, specifically game design degree paths. And they also, surprisingly, I just found out when I was making this as well, the head of their program is actually the number one 3D modeler in the nation. And I was shocked to see that he's just in Oklahoma teaching some courses at OCCC. That was a little interesting little tidbit there. But that all these resources are available to us, and if you have a thought in your mind of getting into it, just get started. It's really easy with all this out there. And these programs, Unreal, Unity, not only are the softwares free, majority of it, right? If you want to go high production value, right, you'll have to get into a little bit of payment stuff. But also they themselves have a lot of resources about their own technology too. So, do you need a team to start up? I talked earlier about how I gathered together a team of 8 people and we started tackling a game, and the answer is no. In fact, there's benefits for doing either one, going solo or building a team. Now, when you're going solo, the main thing you want to do, especially when starting out, is you want to start making a lot of small things. One, of course, to build your portfolio, because if you want to say if you actually want to get into the field of game design, they're going to want to see that. That's the main thing when you get into larger companies, like say EA, Bethesda, and name them. they're gonna be looking for things like that. What can you do? What have you used before? And the main thing you want to remember when you're going solo is two very important things. One is that don't give yourself such a lofty task to complete. You might have this great vision of this awesome game you want to make, right? Put that off to the side. Let that be your goal for later on. Get what you can get done now, and refine your skills in the areas you want to refine them in. And you'll realize while doing a game by yourself, all of these separate aspects that go into the game, whether it be music, art, programming, of course, software engineering, the different design patterns you have to use to make your game more efficient. And you'll find that some of these categories, when you're doing it all by yourself, you fall easier into one of those many things. And that's something to keep in mind when later you then try to go and then build a team. Because you know the skill set that you have, you can then also have a portfolio of things you want to show them, what you've done, what you can do. And that's going to be very important for later on into a career with game development, or just building games with your friends too, to know where you can work the best. Now, for building a team, and I have it here, networking is key. We're in the computer science department right now, right? We're going to be meeting with a lot of the programmers. We're gonna see who's the good programmers, who's the bad programmers. Not going to point fingers. Mad in the back. But with that though, especially in those times when you realize while you're making say games by yourself, you're gonna all those other tasks that need to be accomplished by those the urgency needed for graphic designers, for 3D modelers, for musicians, for the things that we might not have the most skill in, might be able to do it, right? But don't have that particular niche skill to get it done quickly and expertly that you want to be looking for. So especially while we're in college here, we have those people about 500 yards that way.
Also, Sabrina here.
Also Sabrina in here.
What?
Yeah, art.
Oh, I'm a graphic designer, animator, and yeah.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So you guys have already started networking.
I can't code. So someone's going to code and someone can model.
So that's the whole point of it though. That's the whole point of getting those niche attributes that are vital to game development. And good luck. And finding out who those people are and to make good connections with them. And once you start, and this is something I unfortunately had to learn very brutally, but to communicate clearly your envisioned goal for the project you're working on. Because without that, the structure of your game making procedure is going to fall apart. Some people will try to do more tasks than they were originally given. Others will fall behind and not know why they're falling behind. But to keep a clear vision of where you guys want to go is key when doing that with a team. And also make your pitch realistic to them. If you have a game you want to make and you have some people in mind that you want to make it with, don't overhaul it. Don't give them too much responsibility, because especially when starting out, a lot of the games that you're going to be developing are going to be that resume building, that portfolio building. They're not going to be paid right off the bat, right? There's not that incentive, that extra incentive to have them complete those tasks in a timely manner, all that kind of stuff like that. So not only make the pitch for the game realistic, but as well as very similar to when you're doing things solo, to know the limits of your team and to work around those and work towards the goals that best work for them as well as yourself. And I already went over this too, but strictly delegate those tasks that you give to them. If you give someone too many, if you delegate too much to one person, either other people around will start falling behind. That person will wonder why that no one else is doing work. Why are they doing the ones that are doing all the work? Stuff like that. Make sure that everyone knows what they need to be doing. and when they need to be getting their deliverables out. Kind of like what we were doing with the agile development methods that we learned in many of Dr. Sung's classes, and Dr. Fu as well. Now, but I don't know how to art, guys. What do I do? I'm not an artist. Oh God, don't worry. There's some really cool stuff. Asset repositories. These things are amazing. All right, especially with Unity and with the Unreal Engine, they have vast amount of free assets, both 3D, 2D, animations, sample code for said assets. It's insane what they have just available free there. And with that, if you're going for something by yourself, or even with a small team starting out, you're gonna want to take heavy, or you want to pull from those heavily, because they're gonna be what's gonna get you that extra push needed to get your game done in a timely manner, and to get it done, not only when you want to get it done, but also have that extra layer of quality that you see from a lot of other big development companies too. And I'm one for this as well. When I'm going into those repositories and I'm downloading them, I put them into my game. Like, wow, this looks great. I didn't make that. I didn't make that at all. That's not me. This is not my game anymore. Luckily, with a lot of those asset repositories, they give you the raw data, the raw files, the 3D models directly. You can then go in, and even with those programs, especially with Unity has added a wonderful, a ton of features in their 2018 launch of their new software that lets you edit in the editor itself.
I don't believe you.
Huh? You don't believe me? You don't believe me? Well, I have a link to their tutorials on how to do it. So there. But seriously, because I know that was a major thing with me, because I'm a very artistic kind of person. If I'm going to put something in there, it's going to be mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
even if it's just stick figures.
Even if it's just stick figures. But to take use of those things, and then with those now raw files you have that are most of the time free, to then go in and put your extra edge on it, put your flair on it, to give it that sense of you instead of someone else's. Now, also under the veil of art, 2D versus 3D. What's better? What's easier? What's gonna happen? Which one should I go with? Honestly, it's up to you. There's drawbacks and bonuses for either way. When you're working with 2D art, as a programmer, your job is much easier. You request the animations from your animator, or again, pull them off of some repository, and then everything is there. If it's moving left, it has its move left animation. All you have to do is translate. That's it. And then it runs its animation, right? The thing is, the burden gets pushed onto the animator. If you have an artist with you, or if you have a programmer who's also like really good at art too, right? Then they're going to be pushed to give every frame of animation is a new piece of artwork. It's an entire new portrait for them to paint, right? So it has this constant time complexity of how long it takes for them to get those assets out there for you. And if you're programming away, right, they're gonna start falling behind on some of those things. Again, if we don't go into that time management thing we talked about earlier. So, but with a lot of those things as well, okay, no, I have that. But with the 3D art, it's a little bit different. 3D art has what you can think of as a deprecating time complexity that it works with, meaning that a lot of the work put into the 3D art assets are going to be at the very beginning, are going to be modeling, are going to be texturing, are going to be setting up the muscle and bone structure of the actors that are going to be in your game. Once you do that, once they have all that set up, just pop any animation on there and it's going to run based on its own bone structure and its muscle constraints. So the work gets more put on the programmer at that time because you have to go in and either one, make the animations or adjust the animation values to make the game work in the way that you want it to work. And your animator has a bunch of prep work to do beforehand. But once that stuff is done, they're good. They're golden. They've made their model for you, and now you can play with it however you desire. And it goes for the same for taking those assets off of the whether it be Unity, Unreal, off those asset repositories. You can just pull all the hard work away from everyone else. Again, like we talked about earlier, make a little bit of changes, get your own flair, right? But then just plugging those into your game is going to speed up the process thoroughly. So if you're going for speedy, early development, I recommend 3D. But if you want to have a lot of fun, go with 2D.
I would think 2D most likely.
So 2D, again, 2D is going to be a lot easier on the programmer side.
Yeah.
The 3 is a bit more complex. Of course, you're adding a whole new dimensional layer of stuff to do.
Yeah.
But the work for the assets overall is less. So again, there's drawbacks and there's bonuses for either side.
Yeah.
You can make 2D for like a prototype.
Mhm.
Then like you can make it into 3D. Like if it's just more like a map view, if you just want like a more of a tilt like 3D view.
Like an isometric
Yeah.
kind of game.
Oh my god, 2.5. Yeah.
2.5D?
2.5.
2.5D. All right, so that's been the bulk of everything. I know I kind of went over a lot there, kind of quick session. Some people came in later on. Do you have any questions? Hey, do you have any questions about like what we talked about any questions about how you would set up a game development team, what some steps are, anything like that?
What do you recommend to start with on the programming?
I personally recommend Unity. I might be a
Go
little
through the
biased.
tutorials of all the different game engines that pique your interest, and then choose one.
I know
Yeah.
Unity, this is like not necessarily pertinent for us like beginning, but if you like publishing on Unity, they do not collect royalties.
They do not
after
collect
you get-
royalties after you get
It's 100, I believe.
100,000.
100,000.
100,000,
Okay.
yeah.
Dollars
Unreal-
worth of sales,
Yes.
not 100,000 units.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think Unreal does collect royalties though.
It does. And so it's, again, I'm a little biased on it, right? I would say start with Unity.
Mhm.
But again, I'm gonna have a bunch of resources at the end here for both Unreal and for Unity.
Mhm.
Go and look at them, see which one looks best to you. Unreal, you're gonna be looking at more of a hyper realistic set of ways you're gonna go about making your games, whereas Unity has not as advanced, but I mean they've actually, like, this was made in Unity, and this thing Atom is crazy. It's crazy good.
I think it's also worth noting that Unity is C++ or
Unity is C
Unreal
Sharp.
C Sharp. Unreal is C++.
and Unreal is C++.
C++. Well,
Yeah.
Unity is C Sharp or Java.
Yeah, you can use some Java.
You
as
can
well.
go to Java.
You can
But
use
I don't
Java.
wanna
And then you can convert it to
I
Kotlin.
don't want to do
And
that.
then you're just screwed. But
And then it's just a bastard child.
yeah. So, but any other questions though? Yes, in the back?
Yeah. So as you may know, I'm not a computer science major. I'm a math major who,
Mhm.
just kind of curious about some of the stuff. So what job you got for me? These types
What
of
job do I have
things.
for
Yeah.
you?
What job do you have for math people? What is the purpose of
Graphics.
number crunchers and
Physics.
things like that?
Yeah, physics calculations.
So yeah, so most all of game development is either in asset creation or in programming. Now, knowing just how to program is not going to get you wherever you need to get to. With mathematics, like they were talking about earlier, with different physics engines, you have to crunch, as they say, crunch all the numbers to get where you need to go and to get what you want out of the game that you want.
Mhm.
And so a lot of that's going to be in that realm of physics generators, but also in the maintaining of and a lot of systems are using this now. It's called a particle system, to where your particles can either be a smoke flying off of an object, or your particle system can be an entire forest. And knowing the algorithms to make that is what sets you apart from your AAA developers and your indie developers. So that would also be something as well that you get into. As well, and there's also one other thing too, and it's kind of underrated, but level design. Level
Oh,
design.
yeah, that's just as important, I would say.
That is one of the most important, actually. So, because you can code a game up with all the features in the world, and it could have an amazing jump start. But if I go through 5 doors and nothing happens and I win, what the heck?
Yeah, the game has to have good features and good design, fun to play.
Exactly.
Oh, don't bring up that word fun. Too abstract.
Well, a lot of things with video games are entirely opinionated. You know, you have your plethora of genres. You have your not only plethora of genres, but also plethora of ways to make your games. Whether you go for the hyper realism of Adam over here, or you go for the more simpler rhyme over here with its 2D.
Yeah,
So-
I was telling up earlier, Ryan made it unreal.
Mathematics can be used
Yeah.
for balance systems, damage calculation, like how much armor, how effective is armor.
Coming up with different formulations.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's League of Legends, for instance, their armor system. I'm sure they had somebody figure out a nice curve there.
What about the hit scan too? Probably uses a bunch of math going on there.
What about statistics?
Statistics?
To keep the game
Data
balanced?
analysis?
Yeah. Data analysis, big data analysis, especially if you're working with
Small data analysis.
small data analysis.
Medium
I'm working with a single player game and he needs to pick up 4 items. That's it.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that what we would create would be very intensive in a short time frame anyway.
Yeah, in a short time frame. You're exactly right. Anything that, especially that you do on a solo level as well, because we kind of went into that earlier about solo development, is going to be smaller projects. Now, you could be like the guy who made Stardew Valley, and he did the entire game by himself, and it is one of the most resource-intensive farm managing indie game. Yeah, he's independent. It's literally just him. He made all of the art assets, the entire everything, just by himself. He also made
If you want to spend 5 years.
yeah. If you want to spend 5 years making a game,
But I bet-
releasing it 2 years
I
later,
bet
and
he's
then
really rich now.
rebuilding it from the ground up for the next 3 years as people are playing it, then yes, you can go down that route, and that's totally fine too. There have been very successful people who have made games all by themselves. We have Stardew Valley, we have Undertale. Undertale was also made by just one
Oh
person.
my good. Yeah,
Yeah.
Undertale's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
Second
made by
fastest
2
run.
people. Like, I think they were brothers.
I got certain it was one, but if it's 2, okay.
I could be wrong, but
I mean, same level.
Yeah, it's still an indie
Yeah,
developer.
yeah.
Nobody remembers game story.
Well, there's 2 people, you can't be considered an
I
indie
love
developer. Get out of here.
But so, are there any other questions about what we talked about? Anything else you guys are curious about?
Not a question, but just as far as a comment, I think, so since this is a bi-weekly thing, I think maybe between now and next meeting on Discord, we could all try and like come up with an idea for a project, like as far as what genre of sorts.
Yeah, so I had 2 ideas I'm gonna post to you guys here. I'll leave this up over here. There's some references. There's also like where the pictures came from, and then some extra tutorial links for both Unity and for Unreal.
Yeah.
So those are the two. I mean, you could make your games in Java if you want to.
No thanks.
You can pull up some NetBeans and code up some games.
I mean, C# is basically the same thing.
C#. I mean, you're not wrong, but
Also with Unity, well, never mind. Sorry, go ahead.
okay. So I've got two things I can post to you guys. One, there's a tutorial series that we can probably do in about 2-3 sessions, and it basically be me up here, and we'd all be on our laptops or whatnot, and all coding up the same game in, say, Unity.
Mhm.
And then once we get our first deliverable out there, that's your step in. That's your basically getting you into not only how the system works, but also ways of creatively manipulating the system to get our desired features out of it. And then once we're done with the base set of it, to go off and everyone makes their own special additional feature.
Mhm.
The other thing is actually exactly what Patrick was saying, which is that during the authors meeting, we get on the Discord channel and we think of a game that we want to develop.
Collaborate on?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what we would do is we would get into pairs, and we would pair program these games. We would each be given certain roles, certain tasks, almost like a what would I say this as, because of course our final senior design, right? You have the option of making a game either in some format or another, right?
Right.
Whether it be mobile or whether it be, I think someone over here is doing it in Java.
Have to.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to use Unity.
You're not. But so what this would do is this would give us the tools and knowledge on how to program that kind of game from the ground up
Data structures.
with a large group, which is what we'd be doing in a senior design anyway. Now I know some of us aren't computer science majors, don't have to participate in that kind of thing, but are definitely welcome to.
Yeah.
So I say we can.
I wouldn't necessarily constrain it to a pair because yeah, there's some people who just
So I was saying with paired programming because
well
we-
yeah that's
we the one downside that I've seen with the senior design class is that there are so many people and there's not enough tasks to give out to everyone.
I know how it is.
Yeah, right. And with that, you also have a partner to help you get what you can get done. If for whatever reason, because we all have our own schedules, right? We all have our own times where we have to work or we have to go to class or just do homework or whatnot. This is something that is that would be bi-weekly, and we would be doing it here during the sessions. So, and of course, we'd come in, we'd play some games first, right?
Yeah, or
Yeah,
second,
or something.
I think. Well, oh wait, you don't get here until 2, so
Yeah.
I would probably play games first. Yeah.
Yeah. And then come in and start doing that again. Or we could do a thing where kind of like almost like I'm teaching a class here, right? And we're going through and we're all making that same project. I've already got it ready to go if we wanted to start doing it. But like I said, we don't have to.
I mean,
It's
I'm already in the process of currently developing a game.
Yeah.
I've made several games. I'm in Unity, Unreal, and I'm currently working in Game Maker.
Mhm.
Like, I don't feel like what you're offering
Yeah.
is really
free,
that
free,
great
of
for me.
course.
Yeah.
And so what I would say is we'll everyone too, we can put a vote in the Discord. See what people want.
Game jam.
One, the other, or neither.
I'm so down for a game jam.
Dude, the game
Game
jam.
jam?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if we could do like a 24-hour deal. That'd be super fun. But
Yeah.
24 hours to make.
Oh my goodness, that would be.
Yeah.
Oh. I wouldn't get any sleep over the weekend. Oh.
See, Greg's up for that because he doesn't sleep anyways.
I really don't. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
maybe
He's
carrying
just
around
like,
Red Bull, but that's
I got an upper edge. I just stay up doing this anyway. This is my normal
I actually
Friday
have
night.
some books you might be
Putting
interested
comments in
in.
Discord at 3 a.m.
So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we started later. So yeah, so we'll put up a couple things in the Discord. You guys can vote on them. You guys can not vote on them. You can,
How far
if
out
you're
is fall
watching
break?
live, you can vote on it as well later. So
In the Discord.
It's only Thursday, Friday though.
in the Discord.
Isn't that about?
Um,
I remember in high school, like fall break was like a week.
Don't make a straw poll,
No,
I'll
it's-
cheat it.
For a woman, it's like 2 minutes.
Wasn't it like being like a bug spot?
That's lame,
Yeah.
man.
Teachers,
Oh,
they
I just,
send their some
uh,
semester, they have you in there.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
I mean, I'll do that.
You can just
Speaking.
Alright, so your
For
vacation's
Christmas break,
done.
it's a
yeah, so my
month.
presentation's done. Thank you guys for coming out, listening to me talk for too long. And oh, look, we have 1 like on YouTube.
Welcome to YouTube.
Probably. Thank you guys.
Yeah, no, thanks for that break.